world, a world very few people will ever see, a world I would like to see again. It was all so very exciting for a while. Rich Dad leaned back in his chair. For a long period of time, he seemed to sit there silently reflecting upon his life, the battles won and battles lost. Finally, he came out of his thoughts and said, "Most people dash from home to work seeking security from this world. For many, work and home are where they hide from the harsh realities of a competitive world. All they want is a steady paycheck and a place to call home away from home." Rich Dad again paused and then said, "And others seek something else." "You mean something more than just security and money?" I asked. With a wistful look in his eye, Rich Dad said, "Yes, if all I wanted was a secure job, a steady paycheck, and a home away from home, I would never have become an entrepreneur." "And what were you looking for beyond security and money?" I asked. "A different world, a different way of living. As you know, I came from a very poor family. I wanted more than just a lot of money. I wanted more than just a big house and nice cars. I wanted a life few people ever live. I knew I faced greater chances of failing than succeeding. I knew there would be highs and lows as an entrepreneur. And like everyone else, I was concerned by the highs and lows. Yet, it was the thought of a different level of life that made the risks seem worthwhile. It was not just about making money. It was about a life's adventure." Rich Dad then stopped for a long moment, thinking his private thoughts. Finally continuing, he said, "When my life is over, I already know the highs and lows will become memories of just one great adventure, of deals won and deals lost, friends made and friends lost, and of money made and money lost. It will be memories of total strangers walking in your door just to join you on your next adventure, and walking out your door once the adventure is over. And along the way, hopefully, you find that place, a place with the quality and beauty of life you knew in your heart existed, that you knew in your dreams would come true." "And have you found your place?" I asked. Rich Dad simply nodded and smiled contentedly. A glimpse of your future. With that, there really was not much more to talk about. I knew what I had to do. I had creditors to talk to and a business to repair and rebuild. I still had many things to learn, so I knew it was time to get back to work. Picking up my things, I shook Rich Dad's hand and headed for the door. "One more thing," said Rich Dad. Turning at the door, I asked, "What is that?" "You know those 6 months when you were on top of the world?" "Yes, I do," I replied. "That was a glimpse of your future." "A glimpse?" I repeated. "What do you mean? A glimpse of what future?" "In 1974, when you decided to follow my advice rather than your dad's, you began a journey, a process. The process has a beginning and an ending. It may take years, but it does have an ending. Someday, this struggle you are in will suddenly end, and a new life and new process will begin. You will win if you remain faithful to this process. During this current process, you will be given many more challenges and more lessons to learn. The process is testing you as well as teaching you. If you pass the test and learn the lesson, you get to go on to your next process. If you fail a test and quit rather than retake the test, the process spits you out. So, those 6 months of the good life were giving you a glimpse of your future, a glimpse of the world you seek, a glimpse of a world that awaits you, a glimpse of your future, and a way of saying to you, keep going, you're on the right track. It's giving you a shot of courage to face the process to come and the motivation to keep going and keep learning. "And how do you know this?" I asked. "Did you also receive a glimpse of your future when you needed it?" Once again, Rich Dad simply nodded and grinned. A 10-year process. Rich Dad's lesson on the subject of process has proven to be a very important lesson in my life. Looking back, it seems that my personal processes ran in approximately 10-year cycles, with each 10-year cycle a different process. For example, 1974 to 1984, the learning process. This is the period of time when I was learning the real-world skills of an entrepreneur. Classroom days were over, and the business school of the streets was doing the teaching. I was making many big mistakes simply because I had a lot to learn. During this period of time, I was practicing my entrepreneurial skills, building a company that manufactured nylon wallets in the Far East and marketed them throughout the world. We also designed merchandise products for rock bands such as Duran Duran, Van Halen, Judas Priest, Pink Floyd, and Boy George. At this time, I was learning as much as I could about all the elements of the BI triangle. This was the real-world business school. 1984 to 1994, the earning process. During this period of time, I began to make a lot of money as well as build a foundation of wealth. The lessons learned from the mistakes were paying off in money. Investing that money in real estate gave Kim and me not only a foundation of assets generating passive income, but also more experience as real estate investors. During this period, I was following my passion, which was to teach entrepreneurship and investing. Our company put on courses entitled The Business School for Entrepreneurs and The Business School for Investors. At this point, I was combining my poor dad's profession, teaching, with my rich dad's lessons on business and investing. This was also my time to advance my skills on the communication level of the BI triangle by learning to teach in ways far different than the traditional methods of teaching. As stated in a previous chapter, I had to decide which level I wanted to become an expert at. After learning the basics of all 5 levels, I decided that my best chance of developing my skills was at the communication level. By being the best I could be at this level, I would have a better chance of attracting a higher caliber of team members at the other levels. 1994 to 2004, the giving back process. After Kim and I had enough money to survive on without working, I knew it was time to give back. In selling our education business, I took time to design a business that could teach my rich dad's lessons to more people at lower prices. That was the conception of the Rich Dad Company. Instead of teaching via seminars that at times cost over $5,000 to attend, I decided to create the cash flow game. During this period of time, my focus shifted from making money to asking myself the question, how can I serve more people? Ironically, I have made more money focusing on serving more people than focusing on how to make more money. In 2004, Kim and I decided that we had taken the business to a point where we needed to bring in additional management to take it to the next level, and the business has much further to go. The 10-year cycles were not planned. It just seemed to happen that way. It was only when I looked back over my shoulder that I recognized the 10-year pattern. Today, I live the life I caught a glimpse of in 1978. The process kept its promise to me. The process is more important than the goal. Most of us have heard that it is important to set goals. Yet Rich Dad had a different take on goals. He said, goals are important, but the process of obtaining the goal is far more important than the goal. Explaining, he would say, if you ask most people who wants to be a millionaire, most people would raise their hand. They have a goal of becoming a millionaire, but now they need to choose the process for achieving that goal. There are many ways a person can reach their goal of becoming a millionaire. Different processes to become a millionaire. Rich Dad said, "The reason the process is more important than the goal is that the process determines who you become in attaining your goals. Some different processes to become rich are: you can become rich by inheriting money. But most of us know if we stand to inherit money, and finding a rich person willing to adopt you may prove quite difficult. You can become rich by marrying for money. The problem is, we all know who and what you become in the process. It is the oldest profession in the world. You can become rich by being cheap. The problem is, if you become rich by being cheap, at the end of the process, you are still cheap, and the world hates rich, cheap people. In fact, the rich, cheap people of the world give rich people a bad name. You can become rich by being a crook. The problem is, at the end of the process, you are a rich crook with crooked friends. Honest rich people do not like crooked rich people. You can become rich by being lucky. There are many ways to be lucky when getting rich. You can be born with great talent, as many athletes and actors are. You can win the lottery. You can be born rich, or you can just happen to be in the right place at the right time. The problem is, if you lose the money, you have to count on luck to get the money back. You can become rich by becoming a smart entrepreneur. To become a rich entrepreneur, you need to become a smart entrepreneur. The reason I like this process of becoming rich is that the process requires you to become smart, and becoming smart is much more important than making money. If you lose your money,